Some moves are great for their respective characters. For example, Sword really needs his E a lot of the time for mobility and engaging fights into enemies. Some moves are annoying to fight because of their respective characters, like Shuriken M2, and the way it can hit from disgusting ranges and also do so much goddamn damage. I hate this move. Some moves are almost a necessity for the character due to how much it can do. This example is somewhat cheating, but Katana M2 is vital for him. It procs his passive, it gives mobility, it has basically no cooldown. It does pretty much everything he needs. The reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because you can use all of these descriptions for a move that belongs to my favorite character to play as. A move that is so vital yet so annoying that you could argue it is one of the best moves in the entire game. Yep, we are talking about Subspace. Specifically, his M2 known as Fallen Star. But before we could really understand how great Fallen Star is, what does it do? Well, buckle in because this will be a long drawn out description that you can understand in about 20 seconds of reading. When Subspace uses Fallen Star, he spawns a star on the surface he is pointing at. This can be applied to floors, walls, ceilings, escort cards, the damn sky, pretty much anything that has some sort of collision attached to it. It can also somewhat alter its hitbox as well, so keep that in mind. Depending on how far you place it, the star will take longer to activate. It will also have a minimum cast time before it activates, so it will consistently have a minimum amount of time to proc if it's insanely close. Oh yeah, it has a range of 300 studs. On anyone hit with this, including Subspace himself, the targets get launched about 25 studs in the air, and it does 20 damage and applies 10% vulnerability to anyone hit by the star. However, if someone other than Subspace gets hit by the move, then the Subspace who used the Fallen Star can press M2 again to recast it. This recast slams the target back down and does an extra 20 damage, 5% vulnerability, 20% slow for a few seconds, and grounded based on how much time was spent levitating before the recast. You could also activate the recast in the 2 seconds the enemy is levitating in, so you can time it for more grounded or instantly recast to apply the damage and vulnerability automatically, or miss the window because that happens. If that sounds complicated, that's because it kinda does. Other than that, its cooldown is 8 seconds and will immediately start if no one is hit by it outside the Subspace themselves. If the recast is available, the cooldown will start after the recast has been done, or if you wait out the full levitation time if someone was hit. People can also avoid the hitbox on the ground if there's a terrain to hop on, as a basic jump cannot dodge a Fallen Star if it's under them. And because this move is stupid, Katana's E-Shield blocks it. And finally, a neat thing to keep in mind is that Subspace can't slam himself down with the recast, which will play a big role later on, don't worry. Hey, Nico from the future here. They changed the initial hit of M2 to apply 5% of vulnerability instead of 10%. I thought I should mention this. It's kind of a nerf. It's also kind of a buff. Yeah, I got nothing much else to say, but I thought I should include this in here because I didn't know during the script. So, yeah, I thought I should mention that now. Now that I got all of that stuff out of the way, let's talk about why this move is great. And let's start off with a simple one. This move is pretty dang good offensively. It has a fairly forgiving hitbox, as the star is surprisingly pretty big to hit anyone with, especially on certain surfaces. It could also be really hard to react to a lot of times, so that too. Due to the levitation timer, melee fighters won't be able to attack anyone reliably and can make them sitting ducks for a few seconds because of the levitation. You also can't use abilities during it, so you gotta wait it out unless Subspace recast it. Against ranged characters, it doesn't do as much because they can hit from a range and still fire at you, but hey, it is helpful for that extra damage and grounded. Also thanks to M2, Subspace get access to his most reliable combo to apply vulnerability, as along with the recast, M2 would put 50% vulnerability on the target, which is halfway to the max vulnerability cap. In other words, all you need is 3 direct M1s or 1 mine and direct M1 to reach the max vuln after an M2 recast. If only a balance change did not come out during the making of this script, huh? Just keep in mind, fast fighters could get out of the way of M2s, especially if they aren't up close, so don't try to be aggressive when M2ing people unless you are really confident in living, or you are playing as a dive Subspace and want to feel like you are a god for some reason. Now all of these sound great about M2 and why it's a great move to use to apply vuln, damage, and all types of neat things. But where this move truly shines is how it defends Subspace himself. So think about what fighters Sub loses to. Well, most of the time you'd say characters that go up close to you, like Sword, Skate, Biograph, and like more than half the characters in the game. Well, M2 throws them off of you. While Subspace has E, which basically gets you out of danger in exchange for a very long ability cooldown to use wisely, Fallen Star barely cares about its cooldown. Place it under you or next to you and watch as this melee struggles to hit you. What's that? They can still hit you because they are next to you? Well, slam them down and reposition as best as you can. This tool is absolutely amazing for Subspace's survivability and throws any melee threats off of him. Biograph and Skateboard can't really do much about it, and those are almost obvious answers to Subspace that get far more annoyed. Even threats like Shuriken and Scythe get annoyed by the levitation of M2 and unable to lock you down reliably if they need to. Hell, you could do it subconsciously by total accident just by being in the air, because being in the air is that strong for Subspace. Oh yeah, it can also be used as a mobility move, but these applications tie more with self-defense to get away from people instead of being a naturally good move for Subspace's mobility, so that is also something. There are so many interactions involving Sub M2 that help bolster Subspace's self-defense and survivability that it is very hard to detail all of its uses and matchups, or else I will be here nerding out about this move for like 15 more minutes. All you need to know is that M2 is an amazing move in many ways, and I can argue it's one of the best moves in the game. Hey, I'm recording this after I recorded this voiceover. I forgot to mention that M2 also allows you to get a safer ult. This is incredibly important and is the only useful tech Subspace has that is actually practical. Yeah, I probably should include that here, because if I didn't include it, some person will notice it and will absolutely fry me for it, yeah. So yeah, Fallen Star. It's one of my favorite moves in the game. It's an important move to Subspace's identity and important for him to function a lot of the time. While a lot of his abilities are good, M2 contains offensive and defensive uses in one, which makes it not only incredibly strong, but also versatile and adds some creativity on how to use Subspace. It's an amazing move that promotes the Subspace player to use M2, however they like it, as they can save it for defensive plays, use it more on the offense, or actually mix it up depending on the situation. Fallen Star is lovely, and even if it can be annoying, that adds to why I love it so much, and why it is one of the best moves in the game.